It was a quiet evening, or at least it seemed like it. The studio lights flickered and hummed, casting a warm glow over the set. The audience, eager for the next big headline, waited in anticipation. Morgan Freeman, one of Hollywood's most revered and respected actors, sat in the center of the stage, his face bathed in the soft light, a smile tugging at his lips. Yet today, something was different. For the first time in his career, Freeman, a man who had embodied wisdom, calmness, and strength, was visibly moved, so much so that tears began to well up in his eyes. A story that would shake him to his core had been set into motion with a single letter. And now, for the very first time, he was about to reveal it on live television. Imagine, the host's voice echoed in the quiet studio, a moment when kindness changes everything, when a simple act of compassion can alter the course of a life. Today, we're about to witness one of the most emotional moments in television history. Morgan Freeman, the voice of reason, of wisdom, of strength, sits here with us, his heart heavy with emotion. And it all started with a letter. Freeman's fingers trembled slightly as he held the letter in his hand. The audience leaned in, captivated by the gravity of the moment. Morgan Freeman, who had played so many powerful characters, was now about to share something deeply personal, something that had affected him in a way few could ever imagine. It all started 2 weeks ago when Freeman received an unmarked envelope. No extravagant seal, no grand declaration, it's just a plain white envelope, addressed simply to him. He wasn't sure what to make of it at first. There was no return address, just the word urgent written in simple black ink on the front. As he opened the envelope, Freeman felt a flicker of curiosity. What could this be? He unfolded the letter inside, reading the words carefully. Dear Mr. Freeman, I am Ibrahim Traoré, and I come to you from a land that has suffered for far too long. Burkina Faso, a country torn by conflict and strife where people are dying, where hope is dwindling. But I have learned something in my time here. Kindness is the one thing that can still heal the wounds we carry. The world needs to know this, Mr. Freeman. It is kindness, not power, that can move mountains. You, through your incredible work, have shared stories of humanity and hope. I ask you to share this message, not for fame, not for money, but to show the world that kindness is alive and that it is the key to transforming lives, nations, and the world. Will you help me spread this message? Together, we can change the future. I await your response. Sincerely. Ibrahim Traoré Freeman sat in silence, the letter resting in his hands. He was overwhelmed not by the request itself, but by the profound simplicity of it. A leader asking for nothing more than for Freeman to share the message of kindness, a message so powerful, so deeply rooted in humanity, that it had the potential to change everything. Freeman, who had often played gods and kings in the movies, was now confronted by a man asking for help with nothing more than a simple truth, and that truth had struck Freeman to his core. After reading the letter, Freeman knew he couldn't ignore it. It wasn't just an appeal. It was a call to action. Traoré's words had found their way into Freeman's soul. The world needed to hear this, and Freeman, with his platform and his voice, could amplify it. It was an act of kindness, a gesture of unity. It could bring healing to places where it was most needed. So Freeman set aside his reservations and made a choice. He would publicly share this letter not as an endorsement of one person's cause, but as an endorsement of kindness. It was a message worth spreading, perhaps the most important one he had ever encountered. Fast forward to the evening of the talk show. Freeman, surrounded by flashing cameras and a curious audience, was preparing to speak. It was supposed to be an ordinary interview, a moment of celebrity indulgence. But Freeman had no intention of following the script tonight. He had something much more profound to share. The host introduced him, and Freeman walked onto the stage, the applause from the crowd filling the air. But the usual confidence that emanated from Freeman seemed slightly absent tonight. His usually calm demeanor was marred by something raw, something deeply moving. He held the letter in his hands, his eyes scanning it once again before he raised his gaze to the audience. I received a letter, Freeman began, his voice quiet but deliberate. A letter that changed everything for me. And not just me, this letter could change everything for all of us. The audience was silent, hanging on to every word as Freeman continued. This letter came from a man named Ibrahim Traoré, the leader of Burkina Faso. He wrote to me not asking for money or fame, but for one thing, to share a simple message with the world. He wanted me to tell you all something. That kindness is the greatest force we have. It is the force that can heal wounds, mend broken hearts, and change the very world we live in. Freeman's voice wavered as he spoke, emotion creeping in with every word. He paused for a moment, gathering his thoughts before continuing. The studio was still. For a brief moment, Freeman's words seemed to hang in the air. This wasn't just an interview. This wasn't just a celebrity sharing a story. This was a profound, life-altering message being delivered. Can you imagine? Freeman asked, his eyes scanning the audience. What would happen if we all lived like that? What if, instead of turning a blind eye, we reached out with kindness? To those in need, it doesn't have to be grand gestures. It can be small things. A word of encouragement. A smile to a stranger. Holding the door open for someone. We all have the power to do it, to make a difference. Freeman's words were simple, but they carried the weight of a truth that everyone in the room could feel. For the first time in his career, Freeman's typically stoic and composed persona was slipping away, revealing something far more vulnerable, his true self. A man who understood the depth of human kindness. Ibrahim Traoré, Freeman continued, asked me to share this message because, in his country, they've seen the worst of humanity. They faced conflict, fear, and suffering. And yet, in the midst of that, he discovered something that no army, no weapon, no politician could ever take away: kindness. He realized that no matter how difficult the road, there is always a way to change the course of things. And it starts with us, with kindness. The room fell silent. You could feel the collective shift in the energy of the audience. People shifted in their seats, their expressions softening as they felt the weight of Freeman's words. Freeman paused again, his chest heaving with emotion. He looked down at the letter once more, his fingers tracing the paper. It was clear that this message had touched him in a way he hadn't expected. It's not just about us as individuals, he said, his voice quiet, almost breaking. It's about all of us. We're all connected. If we start small, if we help one person, then that person can help someone else. And before we know it, we've created a movement of kindness. The audience was still mesmerized by Freeman's sincerity. They were witnessing something rare, something profound. This wasn't just a performance, it was a moment of true vulnerability, a man sharing his heart with the world. Look around you. Freeman said softly, there are people in your life who could use your kindness right now. Maybe it's your neighbor, your coworker, someone on the street. They don't need $1 million. They don't need fame. They need you to show them that they matter, and you have that power. Freeman wiped his eyes, his tears now freely flowing. I'm asking you, he said, his voice raw and real, to not wait. Don't wait for the world to change first. Change it with your actions. You can make a difference. We all can. The host stepped in at that moment, trying to regain some control of the show. But it was clear that something profound had just happened, something bigger than any scripted interview or celebrity appearance. Freeman's words had ignited something in the hearts of the people watching. As the interview came to a close, Freeman gave one last look at the audience. Please, he said, share your kindness stories with me. Share your stories with the world, and let's start a movement together. A movement of kindness. The segment ended, but Freeman's message lingered. The camera zoomed out as the audience sat in stunned silence, reflecting on what they had just witnessed. The first time in his career, Morgan Freeman had shown a side of himself that was raw, vulnerable, and deeply human. And in doing so, he had shared a message that could change the world as the video neared its end. The screen displayed a call to action. What is the kindest thing someone has ever done for you? Share it in the comments below, and let's spread kindness together.